I can solve a one-variable inequality using multiple transformations. Here's what you need to know. Multiple transformations means that you have more than one operation acting against your variable. We must isolate the term that contains the variable first, and then we can isolate the actual variable itself. In order to isolate our variable, we're going to work the order of operations backwards. So we're going to do any addition or subtraction we need to do, and then multiply or divide to get the variable completely isolated. While you're doing these steps, the inequality symbol stays the same throughout the problem unless you're multiplying or dividing both sides by a negative number. And we'll see why that's true in just a moment, but for right now, all you need to remember is that you are leaving the sign the same. Just copy the symbol down. You can almost treat it as an equal sign if you'd like to, just by leaving it the same. Now I'll show you why we are going to do something weird with the symbol when you divide both sides of an inequality by a negative number. Here's what you need to know about negatives. You are going to change the direction of the inequality sign. You flip it when you're multiplying or dividing both sides of the inequality by a negative number only. This doesn't affect positive multiplication or division, just negatives. Let's see why that is true. So a lot of students memorize this rule, but we're not really sure why we even have this rule. Start by writing any true inequality that you want to. You can use the one I have on the screen, or you can make up your own. I'm choosing the true inequality, 3 is greater than 1. Now let's divide both sides by negative 1 and just see what happens. When I divide both sides by negative 1, I get negative 3, I'm going to leave the sign alone, is greater than negative 1. Let's think if that's true. Negative 3 greater than negative 1. That is false. The only way that we could make this statement true without changing the value of these numbers is to reverse the direction of our inequality sign. Negative 3 is less than negative 1. That's why we have the rule that we have here, is because when you multiply or divide both sides by a negative, you do get a false statement unless you flip the direction of the sign. So now let's see this in action. You can ignore the bottom right of the screen for right now. We're going to start by isolating the term that contains the variable. We're going to subtract 10 from both sides. That gives us negative 8/9 x is less than or equal to 8. To get rid of the fraction coefficient on the x, we are going to multiply both sides by the reciprocal of that coefficient. So the reciprocal is the upside down or the flip-flopped version of the fraction. So negative 8/9 reciprocated would be 9/negative 8. So that's why I am multiplying both sides by 9/negative 8. And come over here and you can take a closer look at that step. I'm getting a top 9 and a bottom 9 will cancel right here. Negative 8, top and bottom. Those will also cancel, leaving me with just x on the left. And then over here on the right-hand side, 8 and negative 8 will give me a negative 1 when I simplify it down. I'm multiplying straight across in this step right here. That's why you're seeing the 72 and the negative 8, because I multiplied top to top and bottom to bottom. But simplified down, that is negative 9. 72 divided by negative 8 is negative 9. And since we multiplied both sides by a negative, you can see it right here where I'm hovering and in our final answer that we reversed the direction of the inequality symbol. Go ahead and pause and try this problem, and we'll check it when you come back. All right, it does not matter which side you choose to move your variables to. You just need your variables all together on one side and all of your constants on the other side. I did it by subtracting x from both sides. I moved the x over here on the right to the left-hand side using the subtraction property of order. And again, these are the properties of order are only for inequalities. Properties of equality are for equations. I'm going to finish this out by subtracting 3 from both sides. I get the inequality negative 2x is less than 4. Divide both sides by -2 to obtain our final answer of x is greater than -2. If you want more on this topic, check out the Learning Target spreadsheet for extra resources, videos, and practice.